welcome everyone to the ScreamCast, episode 62. I am your host, Sean DeRager, and with me as always, Mr. Brad Henderson.
Yep. Super excited to be here.
We are bringing on another co-host. I'm all of a sudden British. Another co-host to the show.
This show brought to you by Nerdly.co.uk.
Dear God, we just lost all our UK listeners. I apologize. We figured that we needed a little female perspective on the show, because normally it's just a bunch of dudes talking about horror movies. Brad came up... Bunch of bros. Brad figured we should reach out to some women, and BJ Colangelo.
You mean woman? I mean, it's not like we just put it out there. Hey, ladies, who wants to join us?
I was in the middle of you ruined my joke.
For BJ, late nights.
BJ Colangelo was the only one to answer the call, and the only one that Brad reached out to.
Well, I am the only horror fan with a vagina, apparently. So, no, I'm kidding. There are legions of us. Hi, I'm really glad to be a part of this. This is really exciting. For those that don't know me, I am BJ. It stands for Brittany Jade. I was born with the name. I didn't earn it. That's something I have to clarify, because otherwise people harass me about it. I'm a horror journalist, actress, filmmaker. You can find my work on... I'm a resident writer for Halloween Love, as well as Icons of Fright, and I run my own site, Day of the Woman, which kind of focuses on gender analysis and feminist theory on horror films. I'm also a contributor to the website Bitch Flicks and Graveyard Shift Sisters, and occasionally Playboy. But
yeah, I don't subscribe to Playboy.
Well, you can now subscribe to it and read it for the articles and not be lying about it, because you can read my stuff. Awesome. Occasionally I write for them. And then I also make short films and music videos through the production company Sickening Pictures, and you can find that through the Vimeo channels if you'd like, but I do a little bit of everything.
Cool.
I think we got to rethink about who we brought on the show.
I think she's making us sound like complete losers, me especially.
We're hosts of the ScreamCast, and we host a show called the ScreamCast.
And I have a job, 8 to 5. I have 3 children and a wife.
Yeah,
and a dog.
Well, my day job is that I work at a playground with children, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see, like, yesterday I tweeted, how many fruit snacks can I shove up my butthole? And other questions children ask me at work.
Nice.
Because that was a conversation.
About right.
Toddlers, they're the worst.
That's amazing. Well, today I'm pretty excited about the show today. We got a pretty packed show. We're going to focus mainly on Arrow Films video. Arrow Films and video.
Arrow Films.
Arrow releases.
Arrow.
Oh my God. We're huge fans of Arrow, and they just recently started releasing certain titles for U.S. distribution, which is fantastic. So we decided we've been trying to work in like Arrow titles here and there, but there's just been such a plethora of releases that I think we're going to try to cover all the new ones on today's show. We're also going to be picking a winner of the Blood and Black Lace Blu-ray, which is currently not available in the U.S., so one lucky winner, you're pretty goddamn lucky. So we're going to be doing that at the end of the show, but first, let's dive into kind of, talking about Arrow Video. I guess I don't know if I'm new to discovering Arrow Video. I first discovered them when they were doing their Battle Royale Special Edition. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
It was a few years back?
I don't know, man. I couldn't put a time frame on it.
Yeah, that was like my first Amazon UK order. And I was like paranoid that the thing had got lost in the mail because there was limited edition. Like, everyone's, going crazy on ordering it. And I think mine got lost in the mail, so it took like over a month to get to me. But that was my first.
No.
So I was like just biting my nails, like, because everyone in Southern California was like tweeting pictures, like got mine, and I hadn't, So
I would have had a panic attack.
Oh man! But it finally arrived, and that was such a beautiful set because Battle Royale was one of my favorite movies, and to have it on Blu-ray was just a dream come true. So, and their packaging, that package is amazing. So that was my first kind of dive into Arrow. And then all of a sudden after that they went Region B only, and I stopped buying them for a while until I got a region-free player, which I recommend everyone do. So what are your guys' kind of history with Arrow? BJ?
I know for me it's actually not the best way to be introduced, but I am a frequent attendee of the Cinema Wasteland Horror Drive-In Memorabilia convention. It happens in Strongsville twice a year, and it is one of the last true conventions. I feel like it hasn't been bastardized by, like the Walking Dead style conventions. It's still like you go there, you watch films on 16 millimeter. It's usually stuff that you've never heard of, or it's lost films. And a lot of times there will be people that their entire booth is just selling, stuff you can't get in the US. Sometimes it's bootlegged. But for the most part, it's, people who got everything legally and then they just upsell everything, because it's in the States. And that was my first introduction was, before they started distributing in North America. And I would always hit up the guy's table and be like, what do you got? All right, it's going to be $80, but that's fine. Because apparently I forgot the internet existed. But that's what happens when you go to a convention. It's in front of your face.
Yeah, it's right there.
So you have to grab it, even though you could go home and pay the shipping and get it for $30 cheaper. But I'm also an idiot, so.
No, I think we've all been in that situation.
Totally.
I've done that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad's known about Arrow Video since birth. So.
Well, no, because they haven't been around that long. Sean.
No, I'm just giving you shit.
I don't know. I would say at least 6 years. I mean, I think one of the very first ones I bought was, I think Argento's Sleepless, because I want to say it was Sleepless, but then, Arrow Video had their thing, and then, Arrow Drome came out, which, they started doing other shit, and then, of course, Arrow Academy, which would do, kind of the more artsy-fartsy movies, So, but now they're all, it's just all Arrow, I think, now, but they have their
Arrow films.
Huh?
They do some Arrow films. They actually just released The Voices with Ryan Reynolds.
Now, is that the Academy one?
They did it Arrow Films.
Oh, Arrow Films.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there's Arrow Video, Arrow Films, Arrow Drome, and Arrow Academy or some bullshit. I don't know.
Keep up with it all.
It's all Arrow to me. But anyways, I guess, I don't know, six years whenever Sleepless came out. I think that was the very first one. And then, I don't know, I think the Card Player, because they started doing all the Argento movies, the Card Player, Terror at the Opera. Those eventually came out over here, but I don't know. I think it was because of the special features I got them. I don't know. They're long gone. I don't have them anymore, but I think that was the very first step into it.
Yeah. What was kind of set them apart, like what I dug about them was they were the only company at the time that was kind of almost competing with Criterion, but with genre flicks.
Yeah.
Horror and things like that. And that's a really kind of turn my head. Their artwork was always amazing. And I don't think.
And their packaging, too, was
packaging's
always
great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's like now we're starting to see companies like Grindhouse releasing their packaging is always pretty fantastic. And who else? No one really does the packaging, though, like they do, other than Criterion
I think
or
it's
Grindhouse.
I think it's very, very limited to who actually goes above and beyond with the packaging.
Yeah.
But no, I would definitely, because everybody's like, oh, Scream Factory's the horror Criterion. No.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't say that. I think Arrow is by far is kind of on par with Criterion. They've released the same fucking films as Criterion. They did The Bicycle Thieves, and I think they did they do Brute Force over here? I can't remember.
I don't think they've done Brute
did.
Force over here. I just got it in the mail the other day.
Oh,
and I think I got it because it wasn't available here.
I think it was Rafifi was one too, the Jules Dassin movie. So yeah, they're on par with Criterion, and plus they do. Oh, Night of the Hunter was another one.
Yeah.
But they're on par with that. So I think that, and then they also do the genre flicks, which is totally fucking awesome because they're releasing Blood Rage. So the same company release, Jules Dassin's Rafifi, and they also release Blood Rage. I think it's pretty fucking funny. I don't know. Slaughter High as well.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's
awesome. But anyways.
So they just started doing the US, the US, I guess, distribution deal. And do you know any behind the scenes on that? Because I know they did was it a Kickstarter that they did or Indiegogo, something like that?
Yeah, it was like $75,000 or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was over 100,000.
They raised over 125,000, and I think they were only asking for 75, or maybe they were only asking for 100. They definitely went above and beyond what they had planned by a pretty decent chunk.
Yeah. And I'm thinking what they did was they looked through their current catalog and said, which one of these can we get rights for U.S. distribution? You know, because they're not able to release all of them. I know that they just had, it was a few weeks back, they had, what was that film? They announced a film and then Code Red announced a film. What was that film that they announced?
Oh, the Pit Stop?
Pit Stop. And I think that one is that out in, I'm having a brain blank here.
Brain
fart. I was trying to say brain fart. But,
Pit Stop had a UK Arrow release, and now Code Red is doing it with partnering with Kino, and now the US Arrow is doing it as well.
Yeah.
Which I would just say that's probably in a public domain movie.
Okay, public domain is I was searching for, but I'm dumb.
It's okay. That's why we're here.
So, but when things like that happen, and then they had an issue with Blood and Black Lace, a rights issue, where was it VCI owned the rights to that, or someone like that?
Yeah. I guess it's a tricky thing when they're starting to come over here. But I think the only film that was older that they released over here was Blind Woman's Curse. I think everything else is new there and new here, right?
No, Spider Baby.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I think
those
two.
I take that back, Sean. I was incorrect.
Spider Baby and Blind Woman's Curse are the two kind of carryovers.
So, but I mean, yeah, even some of the stuff they're releasing over there. I mean, like Night of the Comet, Incredible Melting Man, Necromantics, Thief. I think Thief is another Criterion one, I think. And, The Visitor was Drafthouse Films. So, I mean, we're seeing them, which is cool because everybody wants, the U.S. people, when they see the stuff pop up in the U.K., they want the U.S. ones because, they don't have a region-free Blu-ray player. So it's nice to actually have those available for them, for people that don't have that, which I still don't know why, because it's fucking cheaper than fucking Blu-ray player at the store. But whatever. But I mean, I'm just saying, I think it's cool all around because they hit. I mean, no matter what you're a fan of, whether it's Tinto Brass or Roger Corman to just cheesy '80s blood and titty flicks, they're all right there. Yeah. So that's what's always kind of made me really, really point to them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about prices.
Yeah. Do it, Brad. What do you got to say about their prices? Because
their prices are fucking outrageous, dude. I just don't. I get screeners for stuff, which is cool, but I mean, not everybody gets fucking screeners, and $25 dropping on a title for an Arrow Blu-ray is fucking insane. So that's something I really think that, I don't know if that's going to change, because whenever films come out, whenever they're pre-ordered at first or they pop up on Amazon, they're an expensive amount. So when they came out, they were like $35 at first, and now they jumped down to $25, which I was like, okay, cool. But they're staying at 25, and I'm like, at least $20. I mean, I don't know what the deal is. Why? I mean, of course, all the work that goes into it, the special features, the packaging, it's totally justifiable. This is not like a fucking Code Red or Kino release where it's absolutely no special features and it's just a scan of the actual print of the movie. No, I mean, they do put a lot of work, so the price is justifiable, but still I can get the UK ones cheaper than I can the US,
right?
Which
is kind of silly.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to stay with the Criterion price point.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think they do need to come down on their prices, but we are here to tell you the truth about which ones you should get that are worth $25. Because not all these titles are worth $25, even though how much I love Arrow. But to justify buying a Blu-ray for me for $25 is pretty fucking hard. But we're going to tell you the nitty-gritty on each and every release.
Bam. Shall we get into it?
Yes, do it.
All right. The first one is a Western, spaghetti Western, Day of Anger. Now, I tried to watch this last night, and I fell asleep.
You son of a bitch.
Halfway through, and I was fighting.
I love spaghetti Westerns,
I was fighting.
So you're a chump.
I was fighting sleep so hard. I was
first show you get called a chump.
Yeah, I know. Jeez, I need to get one of those things from Clockwork Orange to keep my eyes open or something. But
that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, but anyway, so what I'm setting this up is I'm not in a position to talk about this feature, though I can't wait to finish it. And when we're done with this show, I'll probably end up finishing
That's
it up.
That does a lot of good for the show.
It does nothing for the show, and I apologize. But I knew you were watching it, so I can default to you, Brad.
Oh, thank you. Well, BJ, have you seen Day of Anger?
I have seen it. I have not gotten to see the Arrow release of it yet, but I'm looking very much forward to seeing it.
Sweet.
I love spaghetti westerns. It's one of the few film genres that I can watch with the rest of my family, and they're not like, what are you doing with your life? But I think that Day of Anger is one of the better spaghetti westerns that are out there. It's, I don't know, I'm really excited to see what the transfer looks like, the special features, because those are things that I'm genuinely interested in.
Yeah, no, this, it's funny that you start off because I was going to say if there's one that I can justify 100% would be this one. This is probably out of all the releases so far for the U.S. and I imagine it's the same transfers as the U.K. So this applies to that too, because if this is released, this is another U.K.-U.S. release. So if you're a listener in the U.K., it's the exact same disc. Yeah. That's what I've read, but this is definitely the print looks flawless to me. It's beautiful. It picks up every little bead of sweat when that hot sun is beating on Lee Van Cleef's face, and you just want to kiss him and have that mustache rub all over you. Which is another thing that's really cool is that they put like the fucking English track on here. Yeah. They put the Italian track. They put the Italian track with subtitles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they did everything, and it was kind of crazy because when you very first put in the disc, like all that stuff pops up. What do you want to choose?
I was confused. I was like, oh my god, I almost had a panic attack.
I was like, wait, what do I do? Like, what was I got to look it up. What was the original? I got to look this up. So, I watched the original Italian release with the new and improved, they say, English subtitles. So that was on there, and also there's I didn't watch it, but there's 2 interviews. Actually, they got the screenwriter for the film, and then there's another interview with I don't know, some guy named Roberto. I don't know what it was about. And then unreleased interview with the director, I believe. No, it wasn't the director. Who was it? I forget. I think it was one of the writers. I want to say that. And also with this, I'm going to open up so everybody hears it. With this, you get the reversible sleeve, which actually has the kick-ass original artwork. And actually the commission artwork looks really good too. Like I dig it because it's not like all flashy and shit. It just, it's kind of a minimalist type thing. It just has Lee Van Cleef on the front and like a red silhouette. That's it. And also, but the coolest thing about this one is that there's actually the author of Spaghetti Westerns, Howard Hughes, has an article in here. It's a little booklet. So that's pretty cool and then also some of the original poster shit.
Very nice.
But anyways, yeah, it's
really cool.
nice little packaging, and like this one actually goes all out. So this one's definitely worth the $25 just for the, some of the package inserts inside. It has the, I think it has the 2-hour version of the movie and like the shortened version, which I don't know why you'd want to watch the short version. Audio kicks ass on top of that, which is literally one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, during the final moments, you get goosebumps just with the music. And that was I immediately bought it. It's on iTunes for like $8.99. You can purchase the whole soundtrack. So I went ahead and did that. But yeah, this is definitely one of the top-notch releases, and just kind of a kick-ass story where, some badass walks into town and talks to this guy and tells him, he's more than what he's supposed to be, and ends up almost like kind of a Scarface type thing where this. I mean, what is his name's? What's his name? It's something Mary, right? Scott Mary,
the young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Scott Mary. He's like, cleaning the streets or whatever, and then, everybody kind of. He's like almost like the town idiot in a way, I guess you would say. I don't know if that's what you would exactly call him because he's not an idiot, but I don't know. It's like a cool, just like coming to be a badass. And learning that, and just having like Lee Van Cleef, and also kind of teaching this kid, what was it? Frank Talby is his name. Is Lee Van Cleef? Yeah, Frank Talby's just teaching him to be like a badass gunfighter, and then what everything kind of devolves into, and evolves at the same way. I don't know. Just that last few minutes are fucking great. So, yeah, I really, really dug this 100%.
You know what? We're going to pause the podcast. I'm going to finish this movie. We'll come back.
All right, cool.
I'm just kidding.
See you guys later. No, but it was just, I've always been a fan of, because like BJ even said with watching with her family, my mom was always into horror, and my dad hated it, but he loved prison movies and Westerns. So, when I was younger, I grew up on Westerns. Sadly, I never watched this with him, but I would like to. Yeah. So maybe I'll organize that. He'll have to watch the English track, though. He doesn't read. He's one of those, like, what the fuck is these titles on the... Why are they down there? I don't want to read. I just want to listen. But anyways, I think this is something he would enjoy, and it's just... I don't know. It's just definitely one of the better spaghetti westerns there is. So
I'm about to do a deep dive into Django flicks. I have been collecting them over the past few months. So
yeah, but see, I think these kind of knock those out of the park because I don't know. Like even like I don't know. There's so much like the Django movies. Django's like always kind of mysterious. You never really get to know the guy,
right?
And with movies like this, like even like Compañeros, which is one of my favorite spaghetti westerns, just like this one, there's so much like character development, and you get to know the people, like even the good guys, the bad guys, even just kind of the townspeople. Okay. You get to know on a personal level, so you kind of care about everybody. Django's always kind of like mysterious, and you really don't. I don't know. When Franco Nero plays him, it's different because Franco Nero can give you that fucking glare, and you just want to even kill yourself because you just don't want to deal with it. So I don't know. I find the Django movies a little more boring on that side. I mean, they're not bad films. I just find them a little
compared
boring.
To this, like this one, you're saying,
like this is completely out of it. Like Django's like league. Aside from the very first Django film, I would say, but every like that, it's kind of like Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman. Like the first Zatoichi movie is great, and then they just kept doing it and doing it. And Zatoichi's just a fucking lone warrior walking the streets slaughtering people. There's no need to know who it is anymore or the people he's killing because Zatoichi's going to live. It's the same thing with Django. Like you just know. With this film, you kind of don't know what's going to happen. And when the ending happens, you're like, holy fuck, what's going on? So, yeah.
For me,
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying for me, I've always felt that the Django movies, like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with them. Like, when you look at them on paper, they do everything that you would want, but there's just no, I don't know, passion behind it. Like, there's no oomph behind it. It's like, think about it like when you are playing a song, like, you can play all the notes right, but where's the feeling behind it? Whereas, like, something like Day of Anger, it plays with all of the different sort of Western tropes and kind of interweaves them all in a way that I don't think the Django movies ever really do. Like, they take every aspect of it, with a lot of passion, but Italians are very, very passionate people to begin with, so that's bound to happen.
Cool. That's cool. It'll be fun to kind of compare the two once I start watching Lazy Night. And like you said, like, these are the one movies that I can throw on with the kids running around, so it's nice to have a little break every now and then. So.
Yeah, and it's cool to see, like, after you watch the film, it's kind of cool to go back to watch, like Lee Van Cleef and, like, Sabata and, Grand Duel and shit like that. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see his character, because he kind of plays, like, he's that one-track character in these films, but you don't feel it, like, he's not like John Cusack, where he's John Cusack in every movie. He's I don't know, he's just so cold. Like, even like an Escape from New York, he's still that guy, you know? But he carries himself so well, but it's almost like I guess it's more or less he's unpredictable. John Cusack is predictable. Tom Cruise is predictable. You know what those guys are going to do. Lee Van Cleef, I don't know. It's like you can see those, like, wheels turning in his head, so you kind of never know where it's going to go. And I that's why I liked about this, because the movie's extremely unpredictable, and I really dug that. Cool. So
fantastic. All right,
so this is definitely worth $25. Just
awesome.
Saying.
I'm in the show notes. I'll have a list of these, and I'll mark, like, with an asterisk or something saying whether or not to buy these or whatever.
Good.
All right, moving down the line here. We have a Japanese title called Retaliation.
Ooh.
Directed by Yasuhiro Hasabi.
Oh, that's a good right? job. I'm not going to correct you because I have no idea.
I don't either. I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, you could be completely wrong, but I wouldn't know.
This is one that I've been very curious about, because I've seen it for sale, and it's a film that I know nothing about. So,
well, I think this one, it's its first time on, like, DVD or Blu-ray over here. I think the same thing over there. It's pretty cool in the sense of being made in 68 or something?
Yeah, 68. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, when you watch it, it feels like it could be in the 80s. Very comparable to the film that I actually texted you last night about when we were talking about another one of the...
Massacre Gun.
Massacre Gun, which both of these films are kind of like... They kind of go hand in hand, so I hope people don't kind of get them confused, because you won't, because one's black and white, one's in color. But this is very similar to a film called Sympathy for the Underdog, where Sympathy for the Underdog, I started watching that. It was like on TV or something. I was like, man, this is a badass, like, movie from the 80s. No, it's just made like 1965. But it's like, feels so, like, timeless. And I know, like, but the only thing that I didn't dig about this one is there's a very, like, weird sexploitation to this.
This is the same director as Massacre Gun, and like you mentioned, he did those rape series of films.
Yeah,
it's the same director.
Well, I mean, he did one of the Stray Cat Rock movies. I do know that, which I think he did the one about the sex. And then Miko Kaji's in this one, and she's actually in Blind Woman's Curse. So, yeah, I don't know, like, the kind of the little fight scenes, the build up to kind of the end. It's cool. It's kind of a neat little Yakuza movie. It's very violent in the sense of not having like a lot of blood and bloodshed and stuff, but it's very like it's a very gritty movie. Like you feel dirty after watching it, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think it's cool, like how they make this film feel like it's in the 80s. Like I guess it's, it was made before its time, is what you could say. But it's just it's a decent little movie in the sense, but I don't know. There's just this weird sexploitation vibe with it that it doesn't fit. And when the sex stuff happens, I don't know. It just doesn't. Like, I know the Yakuza is raw and brutal, but at the same time, with the tone of the movie, it doesn't fit. It feels like, oh, we need to put like a rape scene in here, so let's throw it in here. And
That's
it's like
exactly what I was gonna say.
And it's like, like I'm like if the rape's like. I'm not pro-rape, but, if the rape scene fits, if like there's supposed to something happen, but it just seems to come out of nowhere on this, and it really, like, it turns you off and kind of, you kind of lose your point in the movie where you kind of like almost want to look down at your phone or something and wait till it's over, and then you're like, oh, we're back. But then you kind of like, I don't know, I kind of drifted in and off because of that. So I wasn't completely down with this 100%. I mean, it looks good for most part. It's got, some cool artwork. It's another one of those reverse thing. Here, I'll open it up. It's got, the original. I actually like the original. I don't like the new one because it looks too anime-ish, I guess you could say. I think it looks kind of goofy. But there's a cool little booklet on here again where they had another guy, what's his name? Jasper Sharp, who's a Japanese expert on cinema.
Self-proclaimed, I'll bet.
I don't know. He seems like he knows what he's talking about.
All right.
Which, it's cool to actually have maybe some guidance in this, between maybe like 1965 and 1973, I would say. Because a lot of these films do run together just because they were all made by the same people. They star a lot of the same people. And they all have to deal with the Yakuza. So, they intertwine a little bit. But this is a decent movie. I can't justify it for $25. But if you're into stuff like, it's another like Lady Snowblood or any like the Yakuza Paper movies, Takeshi Miike films, like his Yakuza, like Graveyard, his Graveyard.
I don't know if I would put those two together because I think because I think that this style of Yakuza is. It's not as accessible as Takashi Miike, which is not trying to say that he's accessible and like everyone should be watching it and enjoying every second of it, because I don't think that's really possible. But I think the comment that you made about, the seemingly unnecessary sexploitation, that's like Takashi Miike shows some really intense stuff, but it always feels like that is the natural progression of the film. It never feels like we're throwing it at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Whereas with Retaliation, I very much think it's, these are the awful things Yakuzas did. Let's throw them in. And it doesn't fit. So I think just because you like Takashi Miike doesn't necessarily mean that you will like a film like Retaliation. But at the same time, I don't think that it means that I think it'll help. It's a good stepping stone. But this is, I think it's definitely a little bit grittier and disjointed, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, Miike's all over the place. I was mostly comparing this stuff to like Rainy Dog and like Ley Lines.
Okay, yeah, that's the.
Because I think it's Rainy Dog, they have the main mob boss who just butt rapes people to get information.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where it's like, I think it's Rainy. Those three films run together. There's a trilogy. It's I think it's called the Black Society trilogy. But in one of them, it's just the guy like butt rapes dudes in order to like get information out of it. And it just like, it doesn't fit whatsoever. And it's like one of those things where it's like, what's a new way we can do interrogation? And it's like, oh, let's butt rape. And it's like, what? No, like, that's not fun. Like, that doesn't make me excited to watch this movie. But not saying that there's, that in Retaliation, because Retaliation is a little bit more classy, but it does have that just off the wall happening sometimes. So I don't know. I mean, it's like 30 years difference of those movies with Mike, and Graveyard of Honor was the movie I was trying to think of, by the way. But I don't know. The transfer's good. I think there's a certain group of people that like this type of maybe this type of films. I like Yakuza movies, but this goes into a direction that I'm not maybe familiar with, because it's kind of the nitty gritty. It's classy at the same time, but it's also kind of amateurish. It feels so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's good. We should. We can lump Massacre Gun into here since it's the same director.
Okay.
Yeah? No? Yes?
No, I'm fine with it, yeah.
Because I think, like, what you're talking about, because I haven't seen Retaliation, but I've seen Massacre Gun, and Massacre Gun sounds like it's that director. Was it done before Retaliation? It was done a year before Retaliation, I think. But it seems to be like the classier type of, Yakuza inspired maybe, but it's also blended with a lot of, it's very Americanized with like kind of the noir and like the jazz, like what kind of, like they're playing like Sinatra or something. There's like that jazz player.
It feels like a Miles Davis is doing the fucking soundtrack half the time.
Yeah. So it's a weird kind of, these movies are similar yet seem to be so different, because I think Massacre Gun was his second film, and then he did Retaliation, but
it doesn't feel the same. Like, okay. I actually watched these one night apart.
Okay.
And I text you after it, and you said it was like Yakuza noir, and it's noir. Like, it's kind of like Yakuza, but it doesn't hit that. It wants to be an American film so bad, it seems.
Yeah, it wants to be like an American noir gangster type flick.
Like, it was like, have you seen Elevator to the Gallows?
No.
It's very much like Elevator to the Gallows, but with guns, it feels like. And it's just, Elevator to the Gallows is a kind of murder mystery love story. And if you give everybody guns and play the Miles Davis soundtrack, that's what this feels like. It wants to be that Americanized, Jules Dassin, type film. I don't know. I was kind of, it feels just disjointed too much. It's a very good movie. It's a decent movie. Yeah. Master of Gun's a decent movie. It's just, it feels like it tries too hard, and maybe that's because, is this like the director's, like, you said it's his second film?
His second film, yeah.
Okay.
It just seems like he's trying very hard to make an American film. Like, he's like, you can tell, like, there's certain things that they do, the way they light their cigarettes. They're copying all these old kind of gangster flicks, these black and white gangster flicks, And,
yeah.
And the story is about, like, he's a mob hitman that's forced to murder his girlfriend or fiance or somebody.
Yeah.
And he decides to go against the gang. And I think one of his brothers is in the gang and one of his brothers is out of the gang. So there's kind of this brother.
They have the boxer too,
right.
who. But I mean, it's a cool. It feels like it's very characterized with many characters and different backgrounds. So I did like that. I did like the the interaction between everybody. I did like. I don't know. It's very comparable to Katsuro Ishii's Shark Skin Man and the Bee Chip Girl, where like the gang has like 20 people and everybody's important. It's just not people in the background,
Mm-hmm.
because you always have that in, even like superhero movies sometimes, or, gangster movies. There's all those hitmen in the background and you don't know who's who. They all have names though, but you don't know who's who. And that's what I liked about this one, is that there's a lot of people, but everybody serves a purpose. And, I dug that. It's just that maybe it was too many people, so we couldn't really concentrate on the lead character and his love.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I don't know. I think what threw me off the most is the music in this movie, because it just didn't fit. But maybe it does, and I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's he's trying, like, he's not a bad filmmaker unless you count his movies just called Rape. He does have those with exclamation point at the end.
Yeah.
I'll make that joke. I had to make that joke real quick. But he's just, I don't know, like...
I don't know. Yeah, BJ, have you seen Massacre Gun?
I have not finished it.
Okay.
But I have seen... actually, the first time I saw it, one of my friends had a copy of it, and we put it on during a party, and it was sort of a... we should all watch this, and we were in no position to watch that.
It's not a party movie.
No, it's not. But every once in a while, we pass through and we're like, what is happening? I have not finished it yet, but I have heard, and obviously I trust your opinions as well, but that it's the more polished version of Retaliation. And I didn't hate Retaliation.
No, I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's a polished version of Retaliation.
This is another one where they did that. They commissioned that. The commissioned artwork looks exactly like Retaliation. Looks like they're, and it also kind of looks very similar to what they're doing.
It's by the same guy. It's that Ian McEwan guy.
And I'm not a fan of that artwork at all. Like, I don't think it really sells what the movie is. I mean, even the old poster, the flip side doesn't really sell what the movie is, I guess, either. But it's a lot more. I don't know. I like the older poster better. But I flip everything. And anytime I get any of these movies, like even with Scream Factory, I always flip everything over to the original poster.
Yeah, no, I dig the old one. Yeah, I think the majority of people would do that. But on this one, there's another booklet with the same dude going into Japanese cinema. And then there's one special feature on here that I really, really wanted to get around to watching, because I would think that I would understand the film and where it's coming from a little bit better. But they actually have a film historian on there, and he apparently talks about Japanese cinema.
Nice.
So that's something I definitely should have listened to and watched before the podcast, but I was literally trying to down like all 9 Arrow movies in like a 3-day period.
Yep.
So anyways, it's some cool, this is limited edition over in the UK. Are they limited edition in the US? Do we know? Because Retaliation's limited as well.
It says limited to 3,000, but it's 3,000.
But that's the first press. I mean, that's just the first pressing.
It says limited edition Blu-ray, 3,000 copies only.
Well, I know, but that's the first. Is Massacre Gun really going to sell 3,000 copies?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean, Hell Comes to Frogtown didn't even. That was less limited to that, and they still had that for 6 months.
I'm so pissed I missed that one though. God damn it!
You serious? It was in the store for like 6 months, man. It didn't sell.
I know. It was right at the time when my wife got laid off and I couldn't buy anything.
You were too busy buying Pompeii as an impulse buy at fucking Walgreens.
There was a time where I went months without buying hardly anything.
I didn't know you at the time.
Yeah, I had to sell blood.
You should do plasma instead.
I sold a few. Can I sell? No, never mind.
You can sell. Oh, what?
No, nothing. I can't. It's not worth anything anyway because I had a.
Oh.
I've been fixed.
Okay. But this is. But this guy. Hasabe guy actually worked on another film that the beautiful, actually, Miko Kaji, the female prisoner Scorpion 701. It's a long-ass title.
Amazing title.
But that's a badass movie, though. And, she's in Stray Cat Rock, the very first Stray Cat Rock. I can never remember, the subtitle to that movie. But there's, 5 Stray Cat Rock movies, which are all coming out in the U.S. Arrow, by the way, which I'm always a big fan of the Stray Cat Rock movies because those things are batshit insane.
Did you grab the Arrow one?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
When is the date of the releasing? Do you know offhand?
For the U.S. one, I think they said August.
Cool.
Yeah, that is, if anybody wants to, I don't know, it's weird that I say that I'm not that familiar with Japanese cinema, but I don't know. I think there's 2 levels of Japanese cinema back from in the 60s and 70s. There's nuance, very clean and clear, and then there's just that underground gritty, stuff like this. So I don't know. And also, I guess there's also that experimental stuff like Stray Cat Rock. Stray Cat Rock is very, very odd, but it's so badass because it's, it actually takes the women and makes them, kick ass, and the leaders, and they Stray Cat. The very first Stray Cat Rock movie, the female gang goes into the guy gang and just kicks their ass. You're what the fuck is going on? This is amazing. But, definitely pick up those movies. That's on a side note. But anyways.
So what would you say for Massacre Gun? Would you kind of give it the same recommendation as Retaliation, or?
If you like Massacre Gun, buy Retaliation. If you like Retaliation, buy Massacre Gun.
Okay.
If you have not seen either movies, you might want to explore Japanese cinema a little bit more.
I'm going to say maybe get this when it's on sale. You know what I mean?
For $25.
Put it on your wish list and wait till it drops. Drops down. But it's limited edition, 3,000. I don't know, these might run out. Maybe. Well, there's 3,000 in the UK and 3,000 here, so there's 6,000 copies of Massacre Gun. I think you'll be okay. And it's the same exact disc. That's the thing with these. It's the same exact disc, just different artwork for, differentiating the two. So you can go to Amazon UK and grab it. And what I do is I've looked at both of these and which one do I want and which one's cheaper, and I think I've been getting most of them through Amazon UK because they've been cheaper.
Yeah.
But do what you will. I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in because I want to support the U.S. distribution portion of it, but I buy so many movies, I need to find the best price on them all. So I don't know. I'm torn. Moving along here. Let's talk Mark of the Devil.
Yes, Germany.
Oh my God. This thing, I don't think I knew what I was, I'd never seen it, and I saw the poster, and it was my choice when I did the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo. It was the one that I grabbed. I was like, it looks awesome. It's my kind of thing, kind of sort of religious horror, and it takes place in
Crucible era?
Medieval times or whatever, but there's, medieval torture and, the whole witch hunting, all that is very much appealing to me. So.
Yeah, because what it does, it takes, because I'm a huge dork. So when the Crucible was written was in the peak of that sort of panic of puritanical panic.
Uh-huh.
So setting it in the, was it 1600s, 1800s, whatever it is, at the same time that this was becoming insanely popular in our culture, I think one is really smart because you're, going to gain a level of infamy with it. And two, the fact that Germany was doing it and it's not an American film, because I guess I should have clarified that. It was a very American thing to be, obsessed with this whole puritanical religious scare.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that it's happening in Germany at the same time, I think that's what draws me to that movie. And plus just sort of the history behind it of, it was one of the earlier movies that started getting slapped with the, most violent film ever made kind of titles, and it deservedly so. But that's, one of the first movies to sort of weasel their way into that sort of world. So I think that, the fact that it's available is, you don't even need the special features. It's already worth the price because it's not the easiest to come by.
Yeah. I just had no idea what I was getting into when I started. And then the music takes a little getting used to because it's so like...
It's really jarring, I think.
Yeah, compared to the subject matter, you're expecting more of kind of maybe a gothic score or something like that, but it's very like triumphant, and
yeah, the juxtaposition's really weird. But it kind of makes it really messed up when you think about it because you're having all this awful stuff happen, but the music's somewhat jubilant
right.
and almost honorable, which is not the way it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, Game of Thrones even has jubilant music, but it knows its tone. This doesn't feel like it knows its tone musically.
Yeah, it's a very strange movie. And I got people telling me when I told them that this was my choice, they're like, "Oh, it's not a good movie, man. It's not a good movie." And as a film as a whole, yeah, it's a very odd movie. But it kind of once I finished watching it, I was like, yeah, that was way different than I thought it would be. Based on the subject matter, it wasn't what I was expecting. But it's kind of one of those things I'm glad that I've seen it, and I'll probably revisit one of these days. But but there was a really good documentary on this also about that whole time of. Is it this one? No, am I thinking of something else? I'm getting everything. It has a documentary in here about these films, right?
Yeah, because Fangoria. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Michael Gingold. Yeah, he does a thing where he's looking at that sort of time period.
Okay, yeah. There's Mark of the Times. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yes, but it's I've started watching. I watched about half of it, and it's really, really good. A lot of good information on there about this new wave of like British horror directors.
Yes.
So, Brad, what are your thoughts on Mark of the Devil?
It's not my thing. I've had it on VHS for quite some time, and I remember when Blue Underground, I think, released it again, years and years ago. I bought the DVD to give it another shot, and I don't know, it's just I just can't get into it. I don't know. I kind of like the story. I really like the poster. I can tell you that. Where it says they'll give you a vomit bag. You can actually get the. I did see not too long ago they actually had the original vomit bags on eBay for sale.
Are you serious?
You get like 20 of them or something.
That's amazing. They're
like in the original packaging. But I don't know. Like
that's awesome.
I'm not even a fan of like the what else was Witchfinder General. I just wasn't into that. I don't know. There's something about the time period that just turns me off. I know that sounds really weird, but there's just with the time period where these movies are set, I just can't get into it. So I'm not going to speak too much on it because I don't want to turn people off because I just feel that this just isn't for me.
Huh.
I feel that a lot of people do like these movies, but I'm just kind of I rewatched half of it when I got the Blue. And it was just like, man, I still can't get into this. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I feel like it's one of those subjects like that time in
But the subject matter I love. Though.
Yeah,
That's the weird part. Like, I love this type of shit. I don't know. Like, I mean, even, who's the guy that directed The Devils? Oh, God. Mine. He directed The Devils. Fucking BJ, I need your help.
This is where I become useless because whenever anybody asks me a question like this, I scan the Rolodex of every film I've ever watched and it completely goes away.
1970. Let me consult the great IMDb.
Oh God,
Ken Russell.
Ken Russell's The Devils. Like, even how batshit crazy that movie is. Like, I don't know. There's just something about that time. I don't know if it's kind of the cinematography because it makes me feel like sweaty.
All these movies, you're like, man, everyone in these movies, everyone around that time must have just stank. You know,
dude, that's what it that's what it looks like. Udo Kier in this movie looks so fucking sweaty through the whole thing, and
he looks sweaty all the time, not just this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like these types of films, like maybe they haven't got a fair shake. I haven't seen a whole lot of these, but it's a great premise, and this time period is such. I would like to see somebody like a modern filmmaker tackle this, because
Ben Wheatley would probably be great at this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's ripe for just it's just so brutal. It's such a brutal time where it's just like you could be walking down the street walking your dog, and all of a sudden someone calls you a witch, and then next thing you know you're taken to a prison, a dungeon, and then tortured to death. Basically, it's like no one is safe, and I find that very fascinating and very compelling. This movie handles it in just a very odd way. So for me, that's its charm, I guess, to me. But the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, this is such a great idea. This could be a really good movie. But I don't think it was a really good movie. But it's a interesting watch, I guess I could say. And something that kind of it did stick with me. But it's just like, damn, I would hate to have lived back then. It's what I came away from.
I don't know. I'm an apologist for that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm well aware of it.
Yeah, you don't have to be an apologist. I mean,
I love it. I love the idea of, well, obviously the subject matter is something that, put on my feminist cap. Like the whole idea of witch hunting and all of that is, the source of problems that we still have today. Uh-huh. So it's a film that I think is still, somewhat relevant, obviously exaggerated, compared to, what's going on now. But when you go back and just look at it from, here's the roots, here's where it started. This is why people don't like women. It's like, oh, everything makes sense now. So I don't know. I like the movie.
Awesome.
I would recommend it.
You are entitled to. I would say, but I was telling people, even though I didn't love the movie, I had fun watching it. I really think this is one of those, like, for the special features. I really think that it is worth picking up for that feature length documentary Mark of the Times. If you're a fan of these movies in that time period, it's just a great documentary. And there's a lot of stuff on here that looks at, I think, the locations and the history of it, and so I don't know. I really think they did a good job with this release. I guess I would tentatively recommend it. Just based on what you like. Like if you're into this sort of film, I would say it's definitely worth a watch. But I think the special features for me just kind of it pushed what would have been kind of a mediocre fun evening into like something like, boom, this is something I really want to own, and I want to kind of pick through it. So I don't know. I'm torn. I think I'm going to mark this as a buy, Brad.
I mark it as a buy, and then gift it to your friend.
Awesome.
I think we should then jump into Dr. Jekyll.
Okay.
And the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne, because that also has Udo Kier, and there's lots of sex.
Yes, this is what I haven't seen. I've been waiting to hear about it before I would buy it or anything, but
it's smut.
Yes,
it's very smut. This is basically if Tinto Brass got together with probably the director. It feels like a Tinto Brass movie at times. It's so like I don't know if I can, like, if fans of smut, this is a great movie. It's definitely something to see, and it's very entertaining. I don't know how rewatchable it is unless you like. The only time I think this would be fun is like show this to Grandma just to see her reaction. But it's Udo Kier again is in it. He's very, very sweaty. He plays Dr. Jekyll, and he has there's a party, and he basically gets in this bathtub where his stuff is all mixing up so he can transform, and then he turns into basically Mr. Hyde in a way, and he proceeds to rape people.
Oh, dear God.
I don't know. That's the best way to sum up this movie.
I've immediately crossed this off my wish list. I'm fine with humanoids from the deep, that kind of thing. But
no. It's not. It's smut, but it's not. I don't know. It's classy. I mean, because you have smut can be classy.
I own a handful of Tinto Brass films. I know.
Okay, so yeah, it's old Tinto Brass is classy. Some of his newer stuff is.
I'm not saying it all is.
What?
I'm not saying all of his stuff is classy.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's a certain. I don't know. This is like Caligula. That's what this feels like to me. Where it's hot and sweaty. You're uncomfortable. And I don't know. I think this is something to say because I don't think this has widely been available for very long at all, probably. Because I was reading a little bit about it where it's like, it only played in the U.S. for a little bit and then it got pulled and then really has never seen the light of day all that much. I don't even know if it had like a DVD release before this. So, yeah, it's a very odd movie, but it's one of those that it hits boundaries and hits things that you don't see in movies very much, even back then and now. So it's a very basic story. It's just highly sexualized, and it's like a Triple X version of, it's like Axel Braun made a Dr. and Jekyll, Mr. Hyde movie. If you guys know who I know BJ knows who Axel Braun is.
I own a lot of Axel Braun.
But I don't know. I guess more if Axel Braun made a movie with Tinto Brass, it could possibly be the Strange Case. Yeah, I think that'd be the best way to put it. It's just not, it's. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. Tinto Brass and Axel Braun made a movie together.
Amazing comparison.
That's
actually
so I hit it there. So if anybody understands what I just said about Axel Braun, yes, Axel Braun, Tinto Brass made a movie together. This is exactly what it would be.
Wow. Yes. Is this X-rated?
Well, it probably was back in. I don't know. It would be today. I think it would just be R-rated. I mean, it's not graphic or anything. It's just
there's just a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm not. If I watch this, I'm not gonna see like 50 penises.
You can watch it with the children.
No, I'm not watching with the children. I'm not saying with Tinto Brass, it's like you never know.
No.
It's like, dear God,
not,
what's gonna go happen here?
No, I mean, I'm not. I don't count dicks, so I don't know.
The last Tinto Brass film I saw was Caligula, so I'm like,
yeah, no, it's not on par with that. It's just it's very it's more sleazy than it's not. Like, even though it's like hypersexual, it's not. It's on a sleazy attempt, not like, hey, look at my ding dong, I'm shaking it or whatever.
All right.
Yeah, it's not. It's not that type of movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but $25. If you're a fan, fan of smut and you want to see something really crazy and something that's not been available, and this is like a 2K scan, and this thing is super fucking packed with interviews and another booklet about the actual director. I can never pronounce his name. Barosizik, whatever. I'm probably getting cursed out by somebody right now. But anyways, it's like I hit the special features thing just to see what was going on, just because I thought there'd be a documentary, and I got lost. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening with all these special features. I didn't even attempt it, but just looking at the back with the audio commentaries with the director and Udo Kier, also one with the cinematographer, which is probably something very I would guess it would be very intricate and very I guess you could say knowledgeable, because the Noel Berry, I guess, is the name of the cinematographer. The movie does look beautiful. It's shot very, very well. It's just very hot and sweaty. Man, my back's just sweating talking about it, actually. Like, I feel, I'm like, dang, I'm getting a little warm. But, yeah, I don't know. I think for any fan of these types of films, and I think if you just say smut and Tinto Breast, I think people know what on par with it's going, and I think they would enjoy it. For somebody that think this is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, nope.
Gotcha, okay.
I mean, loosely it is. Just with more libido. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think I can justify why it costs $25, but I don't know if everybody would enjoy something of this nature.
Well, that's the same thing, though, with a lot of Criterion titles. I mean, there's their library is so vast, and there's a ton of movies that I wouldn't buy from them, you know what I mean? But I'm interested, but they do such a good job with compiling all these interviews and commentaries and just making it worth that much, you know. And that's what Arrow's. I feel like they are emulating the Criterion, you know, way of doing things. So
but I think Criterion's been on that wavelength for so long that there's this misconception of like, oh, Criterion released it, that means it must be like one of the best movies ever or really up there. No, I think a lot of their stuff's just regular movies like this that just need to be seen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they fucking released Armageddon for Christ's sakes. Like, I mean,
not on Blu-ray though, unfortunately.
Oh, of course, because you would buy it.
Dude, I love Armageddon. You kidding me?
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where I think people need to look at these films as just a film and not the revolution of cinema.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy films a lot better or a lot more going into Criterion and Arrow films like that. Just because they're releasing it doesn't mean it's the most amazing movie. It's just one of those things. It's the same thing as like if somebody comes over to my house, I might show them something that's not a great movie, but it's just something they probably need to see in their life.
Yeah, that's the thing about these two companies, especially is. And that's why I wish I had, like, because when I used to rent videos, I would rent a lot of Criterion titles, you know, and then it's just getting harder and harder to rent these types of films, and I got to buy it, you know, or find it streaming somewhere, I guess. But they were always movies I wanted to pay attention to and at least watch once. So,
well, Hulu does Criterion movies,
oh yeah,
so that's
right.
cool.
That's right. Yeah. They got to do some Arrow movies,
maybe.
All right, moving along here. What do we got next, Brad? Do you want to talk about Society? This is highly anticipated for me.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, Society was a first for me. I thought I saw this movie and I fucking didn't, and I'm a moron. But yeah, I had no idea. I mean, like even like I go into it, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a Brian Usna film. Even with that mindset, I had no idea what the fuck I was getting into. Like, oh God.
So what else?
I'll let BJ start because I'm talking too much.
Well, what has Brian Usna directed? If we can give some people some context. I know he's directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but that's about it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know what else he's done. I just haven't seen his other movies.
That's the first film
The only movie I've seen of Brian Usna is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I don't think he directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, though.
Who's involved with it? No.
Yeah, he might have wrote it.
Oh, co-producer. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But anyways,
let me click on directors.
This is his first. I believe this is his first movie. I mean, he's known for the sequel to Reanimator.
He did Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh,
yes, he did that. He did the Dentist series. I think he actually did the third Reanimator movie too.
He also did the fourth Silent Night, Deadly Night film because
there you go. Yes,
it's the weirdest one.
Yeah, that's the one with Clint Howard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't even do the Santa thing in that one.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay, yeah, that movie's fucking weird. That's like the initiation movie or whatever. But anyways,
Yeah, it's like the witches.
he did. He also went together with Christopher Gans and I think it was a Japanese director for the H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon,
which is awesome.
Yeah, that's really like Christopher Gans did. Like he did. I think there's three stories in that. But yeah, that he contributed to that, and that's fucking awesome and weird. But I can't think of anything else that he's. I know he's done some more. He did a lot of direct-to-video stuff, like in the 2000s. But other than that, I just kind of stayed away from him.
Huh. So BJ, how would you explain Society to someone who hasn't seen it?
Oh my gosh,
someone like myself.
Okay, so Society is like if you were to take John Carpenter's The Thing and gave it a bunch of hallucinogenic drugs and told it to have sex with things, then you would kind of get Society. Like, it's so gross and weird, but the practical effects are to die for. They're unbelievable. But it's like, it's funny, but it shouldn't be.
It's like Adam Rifkin type.
Huh.
Yeah.
Level. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a weird movie that when you watch it, you're like, yeah, that's Brian Usna. And that's really the only way that you can describe it. But the effects are unbelievable. And looking at it on the transfer is just ridiculous. Because I have it on VHS. And don't get me wrong, it's awesome. It was one of those movies that I saw, at the tail end of when video stores were still around. There was a mom and pop one that had it, and I saw the cover art and I needed it, and I brought it home, and I was probably 11, and I thought my head was going to explode because there's just so much going on. It's insanity. It's pure insanity in the best way possible.
I love I'm not sure which poster this is, but it's the woman in kind of the dress kind of pulling
with
off
the
face.
peeling face.
I think,
yeah,
I think that's the old one. Yeah.
That's the old one.
That poster is awesome. And that when I saw that poster, I was like, ooh, this is something I need to pay attention to. Because it looked very kind of Cronenberg, just the poster gave me a Cronenberg kind of vibe. But then Arrow changed around the artwork to not feature that poster. Which I was kind of.
It's an insert though.
Kind of sad. It is an insert, but this is like a digipack though. This is a full on. They're not doing a plastic case. This is a full on like kind of cardboard digipack.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because
it looks cool.
Well, the thing is that I didn't see that box art before I watched the movie, okay. And then I saw it and I was like, okay, that kind of gives some shit away, but because the film is just very. It centers around the teenager Bill, who is kind of from the upper class of when they live in fucking California, right?
Yeah, he's your kind of your stereotypical like
Valley boy or something.
Like he's the bohunk. Like that's who he is.
Yeah, and it's just like he's just always kind of like. He's just awkward, and he's just kind of makes himself kind of be just kind of the loner and just doesn't fit in. And then he gets into this so-called society because it's, oh God. Once it fucking all opens up, it's like, I don't know where this film is going. I think, actually, I'll read my tweet because I copied it. I said, if society, I said, society is like if Trauma fucked Full Moon in the ass and gave birth to a Brian Usna butt baby and child support was paid to the fullest and Frank Henlotter raised the baby.
Yeah.
Is that a series of tweets? Because that can't fit into a tweet.
No, it's a series of tweets. And I think, and then somebody said, and then maybe Cronenberg babysat for them every now and again.
There you go. So here's a Cronenberg connection.
And I think I think that is probably like if someone just said that to me, I'd be like, okay, I know exactly what I'm getting into, because it doesn't have that cheapness of Trauma, but it has that grossness of Trauma. It has that weird world that Full Moon puts itself in, but it's a better movie than any Full Moon movie you've ever seen, because it has a competent director, which I mean, at this time, Brian Usna, like, he hits with this. I can't imagine being kind of a young dude in the, turn of the, kind of getting right into the 90s, making something like this and just seeing what people would say. Because, I mean, I can't imagine, like, being surrounded by kind of those indie horror guys at the time and coming out with something like this and just pitching this idea alone. I mean, he, like, who was the producers on this? It was Stuart Gordon had to be involved in this fucking movie. Was he a producer or anything?
I'm trying to find any of that stuff, but I can't.
But I don't know. Like,
actually.
It's just a weird, like, it's that type of, like, Stuart Gordon thing. Which, I mean, obviously he worked on Reanimator. Brian Usna, I think, wrote Reanimator. And Gordon directed it. But even so, like, just getting into that world and making something just so sick and twisted, and also just like, it's like TerrorVision meets fucking, like, like a John Carpenter, like The Thing. Like, take the cheesiness of, like, TerrorVision and mix it together with something. I don't know. It's just a very classy, really dirty horror film.
Huh. No Stuart Gordon, by the way.
No Stuart Gordon.
No.
Okay.
No, but well, now I really want to see it. God damn it.
Yeah, no, it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man.
It's pre-ordered, so I'm just being patient.
It takes a second for it to get going, because I don't know, it has that Adam Rifkin charm where everything's normal for a second, and then you realize that it's complete insanity.
Awesome.
Kind of very much like Adam Rifkin's, like, The Dark Backward, where we live in this world where it doesn't seem real, and it's the same thing with this, is that, Bill is in this world of where he should be, because he's a good-looking kid. He comes from a wealthy family. He should be able to, fit right in. But it's just this weird world that he is in, that he's a part of, that just completely, once you find out what's going on, you understand why. But dude, it is fucking gross.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
like
really,
this movie.
It's gnarly.
Like, yeah, I looked, like, watching the end of the film, and I was just like, some of the, like, special effects, I'm like, God damn, that looks good, but Jesus Christ, that's gross. So yeah,
awesome,
it's definitely something to see. This is definitely worth the $25.
Well, I'm a little bit of a packaging nut if it's done right, and this packaging, it comes with, like, a comic book, I guess, with an insert of that original poster I described. The artwork is very fleshy, and it's a digipack. What do they have as far as the special features go on this?
Oh, they have commentary with Usna. They
awesome.
have something with him at the Celluloid Screams convention from last year, talking about the film. Some special features about like the makeup and special effects. So yeah, it's packed as well. I mean, awesome. Everything that Arrow's doing, there's no bare bones releases or something that's just minimal, like, special features. They try to get, because that's something I always said, even with some of these older films that Kino's releasing, or, okay, so none of the filmmakers or people are around anymore. That doesn't mean it has to be a bare bones Blu-ray. Arrow's doing exactly what I always said that people should do, is contact people that really love this type of cinema. Contact film historians. Have them do a commentary. Do an interview with them, because those guys have way more insight than anybody else. And I would like to hear that. And that's exactly what Arrow does.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that now Society, of course, is a little bit more recent. All those guys are still around. But they do a phenomenal job of putting all this stuff together. So this is definitely one to pick up.
That's out. Sure. It's out on June 9th. So it's coming up. It's coming up. It's going to be a fun mail day. That comic is a sequel to the movie.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know how fun that would be, but okay.
I don't know. The artwork that I'm seeing looks kind of cool. All right. Moving along here. We have 3 more films to touch. I
know one's going to be a fucking doozy. One's a fucking doozy, that's for sure.
We're going to save that one for last.
Let's save that for last.
Let's talk about Spider Baby.
Ooh.
Jack Hill.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's see here. Spider Baby.
Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney Jr., really.
Yeah. Baby Sid Haig. Well,
really
baby,
Sid
but...
Haig. Yeah. This is one that I've been wanting to watch. I have the original Arrow Region B Blu-ray, but it's been sitting in my to-watch pile since I bought it, and I've been meaning to get to it. But I was going to try to get to it this week, but wasn't able to get to everything I wanted to. So
this thing is fucking great. This movie is like Spider Baby in that fucking beginning with the mailman. Like when she throws that net over him and she takes out the knives, like that. For some reason, even though this is 1967, that sequence in the movie is fucking terrifying. Like it's. I don't know. This movie is another film because I said this earlier, just made before its time. It feels like it's perfect. Like fucking Lon Chaney Jr. One of the best performances I've seen from a horror film from this era.
Huh.
Like that. I mean, everything. Like this film has heart. It has horror. It has comedy. I don't know. It feels like a genre mashup, and it's just like you even get a little bit teary-eyed towards the end of the film because. Why wouldn't you? Have you seen it, Sean?
I haven't. I just said I haven't seen it.
Then what are you saying what for?
I don't know. I just didn't expect there would be some heartstrings in this film.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it was because I really get into this movie all around because it's a creepy movie. It has, like I said, it has heart. You love each and every character in this movie, even the fucking psychos and even the assholes. You just kind of love everybody. And towards the end of the film, I'm not going to say what happens, even though it's, because I don't think this is a widely seen movie, maybe. I don't know how many people have seen Spider Baby, so I really don't want to give away, especially because you haven't seen it. Sean, I'm going to ruin it for you anyway, Sean. I'm going to text you, Sean. I'm going to ruin it for you.
Jerk.
But during the climax of the movie, it's very emotional because just the performance that Lon Chaney gives, and you kind of feel the reason why he's doing what he's doing. I don't know. It's very. I get a little teary-eyed in it.
What's the setup for the film? I know that there's a few kind of like the kids or whatever are like inbred or something like that, or
they have was they called Murr syndrome? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's because they're looking at the book in the beginning, the weird diseases and shit. Because that's where the family is their last name is the name of the disease because that's where it came. That's where it stems from, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's essentially that once they hit like puberty, they sort of revert to like a more childlike attitude. And like mentality.
They regress. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this weird sort of like uncanny valley of the personality and not of the appearance, where they look like somewhat normal, but like mentally they're just not really there the way they should be. But Spider Baby to me has always felt like if you were to look at one movie that was purely the inspiration for like The Devil's Rejects, it's Spider Baby, where you get this just awful, like not awful, like you get this family that does awful things, but you love them so much that you don't even care. Like they could do anything bad, and you're still going to root for them because you get kind of into their minds and you start to empathize with them. And you see their nuances and their personalities and how they interact with each other. And I think that's what's so magical about Spider Baby, is that it's one of the films that has a lot of interactions within each other. And I think a lot of horror families don't really do that. Like, there's, these are our designated roles and this is where we sit. Where Spider Baby, like, it's very familial in the sense that they do work together. And I love that about the film. Plus, I really like the female leads. Oh shit, what are their names?
Carol Mart. I know
yes.
One. Yeah.
And
I forget the other girl's name.
Beverly Washburn, Jill Banner.
Yeah, all the female leads are super strong.
Mary Mitchell.
I don't know who Mary Mitchell is.
I don't know. I'm on IMDb. I apologize.
I think Mary Mitchell she's not one of the family members.
Oh, okay.
She's a secretary.
Oh, okay. All right.
But the two sisters are Washburn and Banner, Virginia and Elizabeth. That's her name. So
much fucking like chemistry between them. Like when they're on screen together, they just light up the fucking screen. Even though like how dark and sinister they are, and that's the thing, is the film is very dark and it's very sinister, but at the same time, it's very like you just want to smile because you're like, oh, it's so cute. They're gonna kill people.
Yeah,
but it's but it's very close because. It's basically three people that basically kids almost, because that's how you look at them. They're children. They have the appearance of adults, but they're kids. And then you have Lon Chaney, who is kind of like the family caretaker, and he looks after these three kids. And when a lawyer comes by and they're gonna kind of evaluate the home, because I guess they want to tear it down to build whatever, and also there's some relatives that are involved, so he tries to, and it's very comedic at the same time, he tries to kind of divert them away and try to show that everything's normal in this household. But then it just gets fucking crazy. And I don't know, at the same time, because you see someone that's trying to protect the family, but at the same time, he knows what the family is. And that's extremely emotional for me. Because it's one of those things where no matter what your kids do, you're going to love them. But you have to know who they are and what they are at the same time. It's basically if your kid murdered somebody, you still love your kid, but you know exactly what they did. Or it's basically if fucking Ted Bundy's mom finds out he's a serial killer. You still love your kid, but at the same time, you know who they are and what they've done. And it's that realization of that coming to Lon Chaney Jr. as his character progresses. They regress, and he sees it happening. So I don't know. It's a horror film from the '60s, but there's a lot more to it than just that. So I think it's very, very special. Cool. And you're right on. This has to be direct inspiration for House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
That's probably half the reason why he sought out Sid Haig the way that he did. Because Sid Haig's actually because I know we talked about the female roles, but he's actually really good in this, and it's weird to see him young.
And play such a oddball 12-year-old, basically.
Yes,
he's playing a little kid.
He reminds me a lot of the way that the pinheads from American Horror Story Freak Show were portrayed. The very kind of similar, the sense of innocence in that they don't really grasp what they're doing. They get it, but at the same time, there's that disconnect.
Wow.
But at the same time, I don't want people to think that it's, this deep and, intimate kind of film. It's also really kind of campy and fun.
Yeah.
So that's something to take into account, which is why the film is as good as it is because it has those moments of pure heart, but at the same time, it's still really fun, and it's kind of cheeseball at sometimes, but it's magical. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is another one that's released on the 9th as well here in the U.S. So
yeah, and it's been out on the U.K. for quite some time,
for a
right?
while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is also, just to put in perspective, this is the same director as fucking, Foxy Brown and Coffee.
Yeah.
Who has, and he did, what's his other major, he's the director of Pit Stop, which is another, coming of, Switchblade Sisters is another one of his other films. So you kind of get
Cage, like all those flicks, like
like the jailhouse movies. Big Doll House, I think, was another one. So yeah, you kind of throw in perspective, like this guy is all over the place. Yeah. Like he's very diverse and he knows exactly what he's doing. Because I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie by this guy. And this is probably I don't know if this is his debut, but this is a hell of a early feature film for him to do and what he's grown to do. So yeah, it's just such a great little movie. It really is, and it's something to watch. Yeah, just to watch people's reactions to it at the same time, just to see what they say. Like, it's a film that you always see like T-shirts and posters and DVDs on the shelf, but this is not a film I guess it's discussed. I think it should be discussed more because I think it's a stepping stone and a milestone at the same time for horror films, especially from 1967. And this is definitely horror writers, directors that listen to the show. Like, this movie is something to really, really take note with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
All right. It's getting late for you guys, so let's.
No, we're good. We're talking about Spider Baby.
Making sure. So make sure no one's gonna fall asleep on us here.
I don't sleep.
But another thing, it's this is definitely another one that's packed with special features. Jack Hill is still alive, so there's I guess he supervised the transfer is what it said, so he approves of everything, which is always kind of comforting to see. At the same time, there's another booklet insert going over everything about the film and different little articles throughout the years. And quite a few interviews with Sid Haig, Mary Mitchell. They even have Joe Dante on there, who's a big fan of the movie. So yeah, this is definitely another jam-packed Blu-ray, and definitely a hell of a movie. So,
cool. Very cool. All right, I'm going to mark this as buy.
Absolutely.
Yes. For show.
All right. So next we got Blind Woman's Curse, and it's another Japanese film. I've seen this one. This is another one that I'd bought the Region B version quite a while ago. And I had bought it thinking it would be, Lady Snowblood type thing, and so
nope.
I was excited to watch it. And this movie has, it doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be. And that's another thing. I don't know if
the director doesn't even know what the fuck had happened.
Okay. I don't know.
I think the director's quoted like the movie doesn't make any sense.
This is a strange movie. And it's like one of those Japanese films that I can't recommend. Like the movie, Criterion release House, that one's so bad shit I could recommend that. This one, like, is just so tonally off. Like, it's a roller coaster ride of, like, weird, broad, slapstick comedy.
But it's a Japanese horror film.
Yeah.
With samurais.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's
think would be a recipe for perfection, and it's not.
It's not. This one's a little bit of a train wreck.
But the thing is it's such a tease because when it starts with the credits with all the the Tachibana Yakuza clan like lining up, and the dragon is all around their back, and they all pull out their swords, and you're like, oh shit, like this is gonna be badass. But after that opening scene, it's like, where's the cat coming from? And why is the cat on a string and people are dragging it through? Because that's the special effects. That's the cat running, is that somebody is running with a string of, probably it's a real dead cat. I don't know. This movie's fucking weird. But I don't know, like it has a lot of positives in a sense of that, because I truly think if you're into like the Sushi Typhoon type films and just like kind of like Sean said, even like House, like I think that this really appeals to people. As far as like, this is not a Japanese Yakuza samurai film, right, I think with fighting. My downfall was that's going to be either artwork, how it's portrayed and everything. Like it kind of, I don't know, if you would put exactly what this movie is on the front, I don't think people would go for it. I don't think people would be experimental and try it. So almost like it's a cheat. So yeah. But yeah, this also stars Miku Kaji, who is in Lady Snowblood, Stray Cat Rock, who is in some of the earlier films we were talking about. And she's great. She's fantastic. Yeah, who is the leader of the Tabachi Yakuza clan. And there's a rival gang, and she keeps seeing a black cat that eats skin and steals skin and licks blood and whatever. So she goes after this. What's the name of the other gang? I none of that. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah. So, anyways, there's another gang, and they like. There's kind of some backstabbing involved between her gang and the other gang, and they leave dead bodies for them. They rip off because basically every member of the Tabachi Yakuza clan has part of a dragon's body. She has the head of the dragon because she is the main one. Everybody else has. So if they all line up, it's just this long dragon. Yeah. Well, someone is ripping off the dragon skin, and it devolves into kind of a beautiful set one-on-one duel at the end, and who is actually the blind woman, because you would think that blind woman's curse were revolving around the leader of the Tabachi gang, which is Miku Kaji, but it's actually another, which all her scenes are great. Yeah. Like, she's, fighting everybody, and she's blind, and she kicks ass. And the final fight scene is very, very awesome, and it's very reminiscent to kind of Lady Snowblood, and with even Kill Bill's film with O-Ren Ishii and the bride that fight. It's very similar to that. It's beautifully shot, but man, this movie is just a fucking... It's just so weird, like, the guy with... it's a ghost story at the same time, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. The guy with, like, the loincloth and the top hat, or the weird, little bowler hat or whatever. Like, and he's got, he has that, because like, even when he appears on screen, like, it plays like the wonky music, and he's got the thong going on, and you're like, oh, this movie's taking a different toll. Like, because even the most serious Japanese films, they put this insert comedy at so weird, like, at a time, like, weird times. And at first I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those, like, little bit of wonky things every once in a while. But then it just got really crazy, and it's a genre mashup for sure. But man, it's fucking weird. BJ, do you have any thoughts on A Blind Woman's Curse?
I really don't. I'll be completely honest.
That's fantastic. We'll keep things moving. This one, I don't know. This was one that I would say just. I don't even know. Rent it if you can find it, basically. If you're into Sushi Typhoon and films like House, I think you're going to enjoy it pretty much. But I think anybody else that thinks they're going to get a samurai flick, this is far from it. I think the main problem is, like you said, how the film is presented with the artwork and stuff. Because I wasn't expecting it just went places I wasn't expecting. And I think maybe if I was expecting it to be a little bit wacky, like I would kind of go into it differently. But I was sitting down, ready to watch like an awesome, samurai flick, and or some of some set. And that beginning sets it up to be so awesome. And if it would have continued with that kind of that vibe, I think I would have loved the film. But I think expectations, I guess, plays a part in how you approach the film. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another watch. But I would say try to see it before you would buy it, type of thing. And if it's something you like, then definitely pick it up because, like we keep saying, all these discs are stacked with special features. So it would definitely be worth the money if you like it. But make sure you like it first before you buy it. I think is what I would say. Don't blind buy Blind Woman's Curse.
Oh, God. Moving on to Island of Death.
Island of Death. This is what I was very curious about. And, Brad, I'll let you take this one away.
No, I'm going to give it to BJ.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Well, if I had to, how do I put this? Okay, so in my opinion, Island of Death is, it's a somewhat infamous video nasty. We all know that. But I think what makes this different, and not necessarily in a good way, I think the people that praise this film praise it because, it was one of the first to do it. But if Tom Six had been around during the video nasties, he would have made this movie. And that doesn't make it a good movie. It just means I want to make something fucked up for the sake of it being fucked up. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. I mean, I get it. Some people out there are really into that sort of film. And that's cool. I'm glad you like it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's unnecessary. I think that it's gross. I appreciate the effort. I get, you were trying to be shocking and titillating and thrilling. You did your job in that regard, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to encourage other people to watch it.
Yeah, picture if, I think Tom Six is a good example, but picture if Tom Six remade Ben Wheatley's Sightseers.
Yes.
That's kind of what this would turn out to be. Where it's like, a couple likes to go out and just, randomly kill and have fun. It's a cute movie. Well, let's amplify that by 1,000 and have them fuck a goat and then slit his throat.
Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, there's goat fucking.
Yep.
That can't be right.
Nope, it's correct. Goat fucking.
No. Wow. Are you serious?
So...
what context?
No, it's a lamb.
Okay, in what context does the lamb fucking occur? That's not a spoiler, right?
No, that's like that's like saying, hey, did you know there's a rape scene and I spit in your grave? Like, yeah, no shit. That's sort of one of the things that goes hand in hand with, it's just, in some ways, like, I want to be appreciative of the effort, but I just can't. Like, I really, really just, I can't. I don't know. I have no desire to watch things that are edgy for the sake of being edgy. Because it doesn't even feel like there's an underlying message. Like, there's these, like, sort of weird religious undertones, but they're not really completely fleshed out, in my opinion. So then that sort of argument of, like, oh, it's making a statement on religion. And like, no, it's not. It's really not. It feels like an afterthought.
Wow. Brad, what were your thoughts on the context of the lamb fucking?
I thought it was dumb.
Was it a part of the story, an integral part of the story?
No, I mean, because our couple kills people that believe that anybody is like having sex or a pervert or whatever, because they try to like trap people into, because they try to seduce innocent people, and then they just kill them. And I mean, there's even a sequence what's even worse than goat fucking is the grandma that he decides to piss on and then beat the shit out of.
Wow.
Like, what? I don't know. Like that. It's just none of the stuff makes sense. It really doesn't. It's just it's shock for shock value with no story or substance behind it. It's like, hey, let's make a film that pushes every limit in the book. Let's think of like quote unquote creative ways to do shit, and it just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, it's shocking. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe I watched it. This is really fucked up. Am I glad I watched it? Yeah. Would I recommend it? I don't know if I would. It's not a good movie. It's very brutal, and yes, it is shocking, and it's very icky, but it's also very mean, which you can have the most brutality in your movie possible, and not be mean, but this movie is just mean for the sake of it. And I don't know, I don't really kind of dig that stuff. I mean, if there's a purpose behind it, maybe, but like, it's like, it feels like even like the goat fucking sequence, he's like walking around and like they're trying to think, like it feels like the film crew's trying to think and they see a goat and they're like, oh, hey, grab that thing, act like you're fucking it, and then, hey, you get some fake blood, and then he's gonna slit its throat after he's done fucking it. Yeah. That's kind of what that feels like, how those scenes are set up. Like they're just thrown together just out of the blue to see how crazy they could get.
Interesting.
And there's not even a, it's not that I would ever condone, obviously, the raping and killing of animals, but it doesn't even have like a Pink Flamingos feel of like the chicken fucking scene where it's, completely accepted and understanding that what is going on is a huge problem. Like the movie almost, like with Island of Death, it almost makes it feel like, hey, isn't this fun that we're doing this? It's like, no, it's the opposite of fun.
Wow.
And I mean, I understand its importance in the sense of its, its place in extreme cinema history, but we have wars in our history. That doesn't make them good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this is one that I'm looking at the special features. This one's not as stacked as all these other ones. There's still some stuff in there. Like there's a documentary where Nico Mastorakis hosts his own documentary about his films.
There goes my comparison to Tom Six. Let's enforce that a little bit.
There's a brand new interview with him about the film, and then there's a booklet. So there's not a whole lot,
Well, he does go back to the original place where they did film it.
Okay.
Which is kind of like what Hallowed Grounds does for the Scream Factory stuff.
Okay, and that's part of his documentary, I think. It's a look at the island. So there's also it's framed 4x3, right? But there's been some chatter on some chatter about the framing of it. But this was shot to be, I think, shown on video, I believe, is what I've read.
Right, because that was going to be the most widely watched. So, but yeah, I think the biggest concern is that it's fully uncut now, which is probably not the best thing. But yeah, it's odd because, his other films that he's made, like, for example, I think one of his better films is The Zero Boys. That's, really, really badass, where a bunch of guys go out for a paintball thing and then they stumble across fucking people in the woods that are trying to kill them, and it becomes a survival movie. And I think that's a lot of fun. And I mean, he even has, he has a ninja movie and the Ninja Academy series. He has some kind of fucking crazy, he didn't direct it, but the guy that directed like Halloween 6, what's his name? Dwight Little. I think he directed Phantoms as well. But anyways, I think he's a good filmmaker. It seems that, in kind of the interviews and stuff, Nico says that they saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre and they wanted to make something like that. Oh, well, they totally didn't do it. It was a fail. I can't say that because, I mean, even Texas Chainsaw Massacre is brutal, but there's that reasoning behind it. You know, if we got more into maybe the psychological side of these two people, maybe I would be able to see exactly why they're doing this. But it's just they're doing it just to do it. Like if there was a reason for the bestiality scene, maybe he had an obsession with goats or animals and he went back to it. But he doesn't. It just happens out of nowhere. And that's how all the violence happens in this. And it's just boring. It really is. It's because it's watching Howard Stern, but in a video format of, well, what's going to happen next? Oh, he does that. That's really crazy. You know, is there a reason for it? Not really, but it happened. And I don't know, like, it's definitely something to see. I'm not going to say don't watch it because, you know, it's definitely one for the gore hounds and that like shocking things. For anybody that's looking for something that says inspired or, you know, they love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's nothing like that. It's an X-rated version of Ben Wheatley's Sightseers. That's how I look at it.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't really recommend it. The transfer looks good, but I mean I think this is definitely one for people that have always wanted to see the uncut version.
Yeah,
and but that goes hand in hand with what I said earlier about Arrow releasing films that might not be the best movies, but they want to release them just because they think people need to see them, and I think. Not saying that everybody needs to see this movie, but it's on par with that. Like, oh, you know, this is a film that was kind of hidden from the world. There's a reason why, but hidden from the world. So let's release it, you know, on Blu-ray, get it out there. And I respect that aspect of it. I don't really like the film.
Yeah, and the film has its fans apparently. So for them, this is the best version they can get.
Definitely a cult classic. Yeah. I mean, if people like it, they like it. It's just not my thing. I mean, if the scenes are put in perspective and for a reason, I'll allow anything to happen. I mean, even a Serbian film, I dig a Serbian film, but something like this, I just don't like when they piss and beat up the grandma. I just don't like that. Just really upsets me. I'm like, what's the reason for it? You know, it just feels.
The whole
wrong.
film is unjustifiable, is what it is.
Yeah. And even when it ends, it's like, what was the fucking point?
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
So, yeah, I can't really recommend this video nasty.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it for a purchase, but I don't know. I am someone who promotes people to, you know, watch all of them and understand why they were banned and, you know, why it's important to not censor things, but...
Yeah,
don't pay $25 for it.
No.
Yeah, but even like most of the, I mean, all, you know, how many is it? Like, you know, over like 102 video nasties. Like all those films are decent and, like you said, justifiable. I think looking through the list, this is like one of the only ones that I can't really. Like, I can't justify. I mean, even shit like I Spit on Your Grave. Like, okay, there's...
I can justify that all day, and we don't have enough time for that.
Right. Like, even people say, oh, it's nothing but rape. Yeah, but there's a redeeming quality factor after the movie, like, after everything's done. You know, so it's just, I don't know, like, it just feels like it was maybe on Video Nasties because it was just... I think a lot. What I'm trying to say is, I think a lot of the video nasties they're justifiable. So I think that's scarier in a way.
Right. I feel like this was a film made to try to get on that list just for the infamy.
Yeah,
could be. All right, so we've gone through a lot of Arrow's releases here. There's a couple that they have coming up in July. One's Contamination.
Blood Rage.
And Blood Rage is coming out, and then also The Happiness of the Katakuris are a few that...
Miike film, which is nuts as fuck.
So, that's in late June. So there's a few that we haven't touched base, and The one I'm looking forward to checking out is Contamination. So
it should be Blood Rage. Blood Rage is amazing.
Well, and Blood Rage, that too. Those two. So, cool. Well, I hope everyone found this insightful, and we'll put all the stuff on the in the show notes on the ones that we think you should buy and the ones that we think are for a select few, I guess. But we got to get into this drawing, man. When everyone's been listening to us ramble, and they all want to know who won the Blood and Black Lace.
Blu-ray. I'm gonna say if they're good picks or not.
So let me find. Where was I?
I don't know. Sitting at your desk.
Yep. All right. So let me look through these. I'm gonna read these kind of in the order that they reverse order of when I received them. So no particular order here. The first email comes from Tony Hartman. And we asked you guys what's the most obscure slasher you've seen. So here we go. I'd say the most obscure slasher I would love to see on Blu-ray is The Slayer from 1982.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It has always been a favorite of mine and my brother's. We would watch it constantly growing up. The film was shot in Savannah, Georgia, and around Tybee Island, right on the coast. Growing up, my family took a lot of vacations there, so my brothers and I would study the film and try to scout out the locations used in the movie. It has a great sense of dread and brooding atmosphere and would look stunning with an HD transfer. As far as I know, the only disc available was a piece of dog shit Vipco released around 15 years ago.
Which also is the people that released Island of Death, ironically.
And he says, on a side note, I just started listening to your podcast a couple months ago, and it's fucking fantastic. It's one of my most anticipated shows to listen to every week. You guys crack me up and have wonderful taste in movies. Anyways, can't wait till the next episode. All right. Thanks, Tony. Good luck.
He wins because he picked the Slayer and he said nice things about me. I'm going to say it's all about me. All right, next.
Next up here, Rob. And if I butcher your last names, I apologize, all right?
Of course, you always do. Say it.
Lamborghese. Apologize, Rob. My obscure slasher is admittedly not a standard slasher, but The Witch uses a knife, so what can I say? I'm counting it. Sorry, Brad. The Witch Who Came from the Sea is bizarre with a great lead performance from Millie Perkins, who walks right over the line of realistic and does not give any fucks. I saw it a few years back at Cinema Family in LA for the October month of midnight movies that were all part of the Video Nasties ban list in the UK. I not only love the movie, but I look back on the many nasties I saw that month, on 35mm no less, with great fondness. I usually went alone, but actually wound up seeing a lot of the same people going to the midnight shows. We wound up sitting together and talking about the movies before and after the shows, so that made the experience all the better. So his pick was The Witch Who Came from the Sea.
I'll accept it. That came out. But it was not really, we say films that weren't released in the recent...
I don't know. Has that have a DVD release?
Cinema Epoch released that.
Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna allow it. Here we go. Next up,
you fucking jerk. Anyways, it's a good movie.
Awesome. All right, Bob Freeman says the most obscure slasher I've ever seen was probably Night Screams. This movie doesn't even open with a scene of its own. It begins with a scene from Graduation Day.
Oh, that's the film that the cover has like the face in the bag or something.
I guess. We then see a couple is watching Graduation Day on cable, reminding the audience that they could be watching a better film isn't usually a wise storytelling decision.
Yeah. That movie's fucking weird.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm trying to burn through these because we're running out of time here. Sean Brucker says, I went the route of an obscure slasher that I actually enjoy. My pick is The Hackers from 1988. This is an off-the-wall, shot-on-video slasher that is extremely hard to come by.
Did that just stump me?
He just stumped you. The story revolves around a family-owned home repair business.
He's not talking about the Angelina Jolie movie, right?
No. Consists of hillbilly, brain-dead lunatics who love murdering their customers. The flick is really a sight to see. It's one of the best from the onslaught of 80s shot-on-video flicks and is extremely overlooked. It'd be a perfect fit for a company like Massacre Video to release. I first watched this drunk with my girlfriend, and she has hated me ever since. Highly recommend this one with a few brews and friends. Honorable mention, Contagion from 1987, very obscure Australian supernatural slasher that I caught at a very young age. It's been years since I've seen it, but I remember digging it. I've literally never heard another person mention it. Love the podcast, guys. Keep up the good work.
I'm looking up the hackers right now. Oh, here we go.
He also
SOV Crap Fest.
He also closes his email with, "You've got a permanent listener here, even with the high number of horrible jokes Sean makes every episode. I win.
You make dad jokes.
Send me my shit now."
All right, I am getting the hackers from 1987 right now, my friend.
I'm going to find his little paper and throw it out.
Because I have not... I have not seen this movie, so I love SOV stuff, so I'm going to watch it.
Awesome. All right. Darian O'Quinn says, "When I was a teen, my cousin and I used to rent from Tommy's Video. The obscure slasher I remember was Rocktober Blood. I was a big metal and horror fan, so this was right up my alley."
Yes!
I want to see that. I've been hearing a lot about it, so...
God!
Someday.
I haven't heard that title in forever.
I've heard it... I've heard it for Brad, because Brad was doing a heavy metal horror marathon type thing, and
dude, that needs a fucking, like, the soundtrack you can actually get, but it's like Killer on the Loose, Rainbow Eyes, I'm Back. The band Sorcery did all that shit, dude. It is a fucking killer. Like, that needs... It's got a vinyl release when the movie did, but it's, like, really hard to come by. But yeah, that sound... The whole soundtrack kicks ass, and that movie is bad fucking ass.
Awesome.
So...
All right, here we go. Derek Smith, he writes us a lot on Twitter. Derek, what's up? He says, my entry for Obscure Slasher is The Black Witch Project from 2001. A shot-on-video slasher following a ragtag military group on a mission in the woods, hearing about a witch start getting picked off by a mysterious killer with a machete. He says, "Now you said obscure, you didn't say good, because this is far from good. But as for finding it, good luck. I stumbled upon it in the DVD bin of a dollar store back in 2004.
It's like an urban ripoff of Blair Witch. Is that what it is?
I guess.
I'm just saying because it says the Black Witch.
The Black Witch Project.
I'm going to guess that it is a urban version of Blair Witch.
I think some people just went out with a camcorder and shot a movie, but he included the trailer, which I will put in the show notes.
Oh God. All right,
here we go.
Don't know if it's acceptable, but okay.
Omar Salas Zamora says, "Hey guys, when I was a kid, I'm 24 now, my older brother showed me a movie from when he was a kid called Truth or Dare, A Critical Madness. It always stuck in my mind for a sequence in which the main character is playing Truth or Dare in an insane asylum. That's not a good idea. And dares another patient to put a live grenade in his mouth." Hold on, where are they getting a grenade in an insane asylum?
What year is that? That sounds super familiar.
There's no
the
year.
Grenades. What's it called? Truth or Dare?
Truth or Dare, A Critical Madness. He says, anyway, back to the email. A really crazy, brutal sequence. Years later, we tried finding it on DVD and ended up buying one from a shady horror website. And I'm sure it's just a nice DVD-R. I moved to LA since then and have looked around for a copy and have seen that the Amazon DVD has gone up to a ridiculous price. So I got my old brother's disc and made my own copy. Looking more into the movie, it becomes more fascinating. It was shot on video, and the director was a teenager.
Oh, it's a fucking Tim Ritter movie.
Lied about his age to get funding. The movie turned into a series, and I found an online fundraiser trying to get money to make the 5th installment. It's easily the most low-key, longest-running horror series that I've ever encountered. Either way, you guys should check it out if you haven't before. It's a fucking trip. Anyway, have a great day. Stoked to hear what other dudes come up with.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yes, that is Tim Ritter, who did Day of the Reaper, who had a Blu-ray release of recent from that one company that only does like 100 Blu-rays of the prints. He did like Killing Spree. Yeah. He has a new he has a segment for the High 8 film that just came out from Wild Eye. But yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
I've seen that movie, but I will check that out.
You'll check it out. You know you will. All right, here we go. Last one from Ron Compestein. What's up, Ron? The film I chose is a pretty deep cut. I saw this movie in the late 80s when my parents rented it on VHS, and it always stuck with me. To this day, it has not been released on DVD, and while on vacation a couple years ago, I found the VHS. The film is Bloody Wednesday. The film is loosely based on the San Ysidro McDonald's massacre that happened in the early 80s. In the film, it takes place in a coffee shop. This is not even what the film is about. This is not even what the film is about. Those events happen at the end of the film. The film is really about the strange individual that lives in an abandoned hotel and starts picking off characters one by one. This film isn't a traditional slasher, but it does follow the formula enough to be considered one. One memorable scene between the killer and a local gang is hilarious. He plays Russian roulette with a gang, which the leader looks just like Rambo, and the killer has a teddy bear that he talks to and asks if each member is guilty or not guilty. This is by no means a great film, but is one of the weirdest films I've seen, and I don't know anyone that has seen this, so I was curious if you guys have seen this.
I've seen it.
Of course Brad's seen it.
It's been a long... Hey, there's like 3 films that people have mentioned that I haven't seen.
I know, man. That's pretty awesome. Thanks. I'm glad some people stumped Brad. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my little hat here. I'm gonna pull out.
I didn't do mine.
See,
I didn't do my obscure slasher.
Do we have time for this?
My obscure slasher is from 1984. It is called The Prey. It is about campers that get killed off. That's it.
Okay.
It's really good.
Great.
It's unavailable.
Mine is not obscure, but I have been jonesing for a Blu-ray release of Night School, and it needs to happen.
Oof, yes.
I fucking love that movie.
Night School is awesome.
It's the bomb.
My obscure was Satan's Blade. I'd never seen it before, and I don't think I've ever seen anything that obscure. So there you go. I cheated. All right.
No, you cheated. You're disqualified.
I have the winner in my hand right now. Winner in my hand. Here we go. The suspense is killing me.
It's the guy that picked the hackers.
Derek Smith.
What did he pick?
He picked
the Black Witch Project. He's disqualified. No.
Derek, man, congratulations. You've won Blood and Black Lace, and what's the other movie I had?
The Long Goodbye.
The Long Goodbye. Not a horror movie, but a really good Blu-ray from Arrow Films. Derek, congratulations. Drop us a line. DM us on Twitter, Scream_cast with your address, and I'll get this out to you. All right. We need to wrap this show up.
And I think we'll wrap it up.
Brad,
shout-outs.
But did you have a couple of shout-outs you wanted to get to really quick before I do my usual?
Oh, God, your usual long-ass shit.
It's not long. I could go a lot of ways.
Well, we will be working with some upcoming stuff with there's a video store that basically is the size of a closet, but it's awesome. It's in Tampa, in Florida. It's called Grindhouse Video, and the guy who runs it is Mike Sadlin. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. But he decided to open a video store in the middle of fucking Florida, which kind of sucks because it's Florida. A store generated to crazy shit. And it's badass, and I'm going to support the fuck out of him. And we're actually going to work out something probably for the show for discounts and stuff online because he has an online store. So,
cool.
Yeah, just wait for that. We're, working on stuff like that for him and for the show. He's going to promote the show at the store, hopefully, turn some people on in Florida, more people. So, yeah, spread the word. It's going to be kind of, it's equal to like Diabolic DVD. He's willing to ship anywhere, I believe, but we'll work out the logistics of that. So go to their site, grindhousevideo.com. He's got tapes on there and stuff like that. I mean, he sells everything. So something to look out for.
Awesome.
And then the other one is something, actually, I think is it Derek Smith won the thing?
Yes.
All right, yeah. So, anyways, Derek Smith tagged me in a Facebook post for this art by the name of name is Kate Davis.
She is incredible. She's done poster art for me before.
Awesome.
Yeah, she did a Sammy Kerr, because I'm a big Trick or Treat fan. She did a Sammy Kerr print, and I was like, holy shit, it looks really good. So I, clicked on her name and, was looking through some more other stuff, and I was like, holy shit, she's like really fucking good. And she has this badass Mad Max print that she did for, was it his name Hux? This
Print's
Hux
so
print.
good, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And I bought her, I'm a big fan of Serial Mom, and she has a Serial Mom print where it says Pussy Willows on it. It's Kathleen Turner's face.
Yeah, she's an incredible artist. She's a Chicago girl, so I know
okay,
her.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool,
I know her.
Cool.
She's wonderful, and she does take commissions too. So
Ooh.
Awesome.
always good
So
to know.
if you want to hit her up, you can find her on Facebook. We'll probably post her name on that, so you can reach her through that at facebook.com/Kate Dangerously, or you can find her at katedavisart.com, and you should buy some of her stuff because she actually got really cheap prices for some reason. She'd probably be charging $100, but yeah, she's really badass. I usually don't say too much on art because I don't find a lot of it awesome, but yeah, hers really goes above and beyond.
It's really good.
So check it out. That's it. That's mine.
Very cool.
Your coffee
All
shop
right,
of
all right.
horrors.
Well,
This is coffee shop of horrors.
We are sponsored by Coffee Shop of Horrors, and if you when you check out, if you buy some coffee from them over at coffeeshopofhorrors.com, use
It's a coupon code.
the coupon code ScreamCast, and you'll get 10% off. We'll be giving away some more coffee next month. I have an order coming in.
It
soon.
is really good coffee. So
It is.
I
Good
make
stuff.
I joke around a lot, but it's really tasty.
I
It's
love
like
all
one of
their-
the only coffees I like can drink without creamer.
Yeah, it's good
Because I have
stuff.
I have to drink, I have coffee with my creamer type thing.
Because you
But
drink coffee like a bitch.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
But yeah, I can drink straight coffee with Coffee Shop of Horrors.
Yeah,
So
it's good. We'll be giving away
big deal.
more of their
Turn me into a
coffee
man.
next month, so stay tuned for that. Also, oneofus.net. Check out all their other podcasts. We're very happy to be a part of their shows and their website and everything. And
Family.
Their family. That's what I meant to say, family. So check out all their other shows. Good stuff from them over there. And nerdly.co.uk for being supporting us since the beginning. Near the beginning, they picked us up and were promoting the shit out of us over there in the UK, so we want to thank them. And we want to thank you guys, the listeners. It's very cool to get tweets from everyone, and then posts on Facebook and things like that. So we really appreciate you guys. We don't really say that enough, but thanks for spreading the word and for listening.
And also BJ for just saying yes.
Yeah.
Well,
BJ, thank you.
That might change after this episode.
I know
Oh,
this
no.
epically long episode. We don't really usually try to have these shows this long, but we had a lot to talk about. But BJ, thank you for joining us. We look forward to many more episodes.
absolutely. I can't wait for us to do some Vinegar Syndrome stuff so I can geek out real hard.
I geek out hard. Probably too hard. It hurts.
I have a box of non-pornographic Vinegar Syndrome things on my way, unless they slip any of that stuff in, and if they do,
Well, good
Kudos.
news.
I'll
I
be
have
in-
all the gay porn.
I'll be in trouble.
That's what I like to do. I like to sit down with you and your wife and watch, a wake pool movie.
Well, that's what we do at my
Yeah.
house. If you want to come over and watch Boys in the Sand, you're more than welcome.
Bam.
Yeah. It's sit between you and your wife.
No, you cannot sit between me and my wife, Brad. That's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable. All right.
That would be a great experience.
We want to thank all of you guys for listening. Hey, drop Arrow Films a line. It's Arrow Films Video on Twitter. Let them know you heard about their stuff on our show. Give them a little shout out that you heard about them from us, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, because we opened a door on that.
I don't know. Who knows? But
no one's ever heard of Arrow before ScreamCast.
Yeah, exactly. I would say if you choose to buy, what I mean to say is if you choose to buy
this
something
is what
based on
people
this
say
podcast,
when you're jokes for every episode.
I know.
This is exactly what they're talking about. I don't even know if this is a joke. You're totally being serious,
Totally
which is kind of a joke.
It's late, and I need to work early in the morning.
It's late for you, dude. It's fucking 2 a.m. for us. What the hell are you talking about? It's like 10 o'clock there. Don't even give me that shit.
I know. Sorry about that. All right, you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.
It's not you, it's Skype.
I blame Skype for all of the world's problems. So.